now, the feature so many of our listeners wait for each day. Producer's Picks.
This is the part of the day where Jared goes through social media and all the news, and he picks out some stories that stand out to him. Go ahead, Jared.
We're going to start off with courage.
Courage?
Courage.
Okay, elaborate.
The John F. Kennedy Library Foundation announced that United States Senator Willard Mitt Romney will receive the John F. Kennedy Profile in Courage Award for his historic vote to impeach President Donald Trump.
No, that's not what it
2020,
says.
And his consistent and courageous defense of democracy.
Now they're giving out profiles and courage for being a rhino. It's a rhino award?
Yes. This was Ambassador Caroline Kennedy. Senator Romney's commitment to our Constitution makes him a worthy successor to the senators who inspired my father to write Profiles in Courage. He reminds us that our democracy depends on the courage, conscience, and character of our elected officials.
The courage to want to get nice write-ups in the Washington Post.
Romney,
and to be the toast of the town with the liberal elite. I might have to bring this up, Jared, to Howie Carr.
Oh, absolutely.
Pierre Delecto gets a Profiles in Courage award. It's like, just when I think this award can't be more meaningless, it outdoes itself.
Yes, he is literally getting an award for courage by taking the least courageous path possible.
Yeah, for selling out his voters.
Now, he is the first ever senator to vote to convict the president of his own party.
Wow. You are so brave, Mitt. You are so brave. It's pathetic. It really is. Jared, okay.
You're so brave.
You're so brave. Michael Scott would say it. You are so brave. What else you got?
All right. From one bravery crusader to another. British University has been criticized for a planned life-size statue of Greta Thunberg.
I saw this, and they were focusing on the price of it. I think it cost like
$32,000.
So pretty pricey. I have to imagine you could do a lot of good with, planting trees with that kind of money. But I'm more curious about, was this made in a sustainable way? Was this made in a green way? Because that's where I think Greta would have a problem with it. She doesn't want people,
right,
hurting the environment in an effort to put up a statue of her.
Well, Christine Charlesworth was the sculptor of the bronze cast statue at her foundry. And she has been told that it is the first full-size statue of Greta in the world. And this is being put up at Winchester University, who plan to unveil the likeness of the spunky environmental activist on March 30th.
The fact that they're saying the first one in the world makes me think that they're planning on having more of these. And wait, I just want to add one more thing in. At some point recently, there was talk that, they're tearing down all these statues.
Yes.
George Washington is out. Greta Thunberg is in. You get the point. But they were saying that maybe someone they were going to replace some of these statues with, because you can't have statues. Like in Boston, they tore down, I think, the Abraham Lincoln statue.
Yes, the abolitionist statue.
They were tearing down
freedom of slavery.
And the funny part of it was, Trump said that from the beginning. He goes, all right, so it starts with, some generals from the South. You tear down those statues, but what stops you from George Washington? And everybody made fun of him and said, oh, it's so extreme, it's not going to get to that. But of course, within months, it did. And they start tearing down, presidents and all these other statues. But at some point, they were saying, all right, who can we put in who's going to be beloved by all? In one situation, they were talking about maybe putting golden retrievers in as statues, because they thought most people love golden retrievers. And the second one they were saying was Dolly Parton. And at the time, I was like, I love Dolly. Everybody knows. 9 to 5 is my morning anthem. But I was like, it's a little strange to have statues of Dolly Parton. And she came out and said, I don't want statues of me, because she's awesome and she has self-awareness, and she's like, we don't need a Dolly Parton statue. But now that I'm hearing they're making them of Greta Thunberg, I'm like, you know what? Let's circle back to the Dolly Parton. I'd be down with that.
Well, along those lines, local resident Simon Dixon told the Hampshire Chronicle What a total waste of money. Total waste of money. I wonder whose bright idea that was. University student Henry Osborne wondered why he and the others, quote, weren't given a vote over who to have a statue of, unquote. Hampshire reader Michelle Coombs said, I think the statue sculpture itself is very good, but Greta has no connection to Winchester, or am I wrong?
First of all, your pronunciation of Greta is amazing. And I hope from now on you talk about her once a show because it's just
Greta Thunberg.
Beautiful. But I kind of agree. And if I'm running a school and, we have all these issues, I mean, every single day there's new controversy. And the board says to me, hey, by the way, we have an idea for a $32,000 statue. I don't care who it's of. I would say, let's hold off on the statues for a while. They don't seem to be going over well with people.
And I know this is Passover, first day of Passover. But I do have a little bit of an Easter story to get to.
Ooh.
In an unlikely union, Pepsi and Marshmallow Peeps have joined together to create a Marshmallow Soda.
All right, so I'm concerned because one of my VIPs, you just nodded at that with kind of like a smile, like, oh, that sounds good. And
that's a sugar junkie like me. I like him.
That drink sounds disgusting. And I just want to say, if my mom's listening, every year for Easter, my mom buys all of us Peeps. She buys a pack for each of us. In the big pack, that has all the different rows of it. And she knows at this point. My mom's known all of us, all my siblings, for our whole lives. She's known us from day one. She knows we don't like Peeps. They're gross. But she likes Peeps. So she gets them and she eats them. They're so disgusting. Why someone would want to put them in Pepsi? Ugh.
Well, they don't dip them in the Pepsi. It's just like a marshmallow. It's like a vanilla Pepsi. It's like a marshmallow flavoring for the Pepsi's not like gritty with sugar on the outside or anything.
All right. You know what I'm going to ask you right now, Jared?
Yes.
This is going to tell me a lot. Cherry Coke, yes or no?
Yes. All day, yes. All day. It's 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. I'll invent a day for Cherry Coke.
Vanilla Coke.
Vanilla Coke, yeah. Okay, it's not my go-to, but I can drink it.
Can I tell you something right now? Coca-Cola, like a high-test fountain soda, preferably from McDonald's, is one of the greatest pleasures in life. If you gave up soda, if you're one of those people who goes around and tells people, I don't drink soda, I haven't had soda in 10 years, first of all, nobody cares. And second of all, you are depriving yourself because especially if you're not feeling great, a bubbly Coke from McDonald's is amazing. But the idea of having to infuse it with vanilla or cherry or Peeps, no, unforgivable, disgusting. That's my ruling on it. It's gross.
All right, well, that was the Easter story. We are well past Valentine's Day, but who says that love is dead, kids?
Oh, God.
NIH contractor who falsely claimed to work with Dr. Fauci is under investigation for possible financial crimes. Fellas, tip for you, nothing drives the ladies crazy like saying you worked with Dr. Fauci.
Wait, so what was he putting this on, like his dating profile?
Yes. Ronell Daniels, who falsely identified himself as Dr. Ronald Harvey Daniels, a researcher on Fauci's team at NIH working on the COVID-19 vaccine. Yes, he misrepresented his identity, as they say.
So is the crime here, did he pretend to be a doctor, or is he a doctor and just pretended that he worked with Dr. Fauci?
It seems like he does work for the NIH, but he is not a doctor and he doesn't have a science-based role for the research agency. So he never got into the specifics of how he worked with Dr. Fauci, whether it was to save the Smurfs from Gargamel, or with the Lollipop Guild, or to march into Mordor to get the one ring that binds them all. So we don't really know what exactly he did for Dr. Fauci.
So he's like a catch me if you can kind of guy. He wanted to get the ladies, so he pretended to be a doctor.
Slightly less sophisticated, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Leo in the pilot suit, but he was doing the best he could. You know what? As long as he wasn't, at the operating table, I'm sure he was going to tell the ladies eventually. Like, you can only date a guy for so long till you figure out, I don't think he's a doctor. I just don't see it. Like, you ask him one question, hey, what do you think about this mole on my arm? You're going to figure out quickly that he is not a doctor. Let me tell you.
And lastly, we know I love the bearded Ted Cruz. Ever since the beard, the guy's been just on fire. He did one of the best things I think I have seen. It's out there all over the social media. I think he put it up on Rumble, I think is where he put it. But Ted Cruz and some other GOP senators did a kind of guerrilla journalism style video at the Texas Mexico border right on the Rio Grande. And I have a little bit of the audio. The audio is fine, but the visual is basically Ted Cruz in the dark in a vest, kind of like Steve Irwin, like, crikey, mates, we're walking through the banks. And he's talking about, there's poachers or there's human traffickers across the river. There's shining lights at. I mean, it's like Walter Cronkite in Vietnam. I mean, it does have Tropic Thunder vibes. Yes, absolutely.
Like there's all this greenery popping out from, both sides of his face. It is pretty good. Let's hear the audio.
Yeah, here's a little bit of Tropical Ted.
So it's past midnight. I'm standing on the shore of the Rio Grande. The water is right behind me. I'm down the Texas border along with 18 senators. We made the trip to see the crisis that is playing out. We've already gone to detention facilities that are overrun, many of them with families, small children. We saw multiple mothers who were nursing infant babies who had just crossed over and were being housed in outdoor holding pens where they were sleeping on the floor and nursing their babies.
Okay, so not making light of the situation because that sounds awful, but I will say, to your point, Jared, he's got the narrator voice down pat. Like, he is narrating that like this is a documentary.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we're not making light of the situation down there, but this does kind of sound like his version of Kids Engages.
Well, the other thing about Ted Cruz, ever since the Cancun incident, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, you follow Ted Cruz closer than I do, Jared.
I do.
I think he's gotten stronger from it because he seems like he took all of this backlash and criticism, and at first he was a little bit Weasley about it, like when he came back with his little rolly suitcase. That was kind of cringeworthy. But then he kind of just decided, all right, I got to wear this. And he's been wearing it and kind of getting stronger and stronger. That's just my take.
Yes, no, he's like Samson, but it's just the beard instead of the hair.
Yeah, I agree. Guys, when we get back, we're going to talk. Do you have any more producers' picks, Jared? I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's all we have for today.
All right. What a great Friday, producers'
Although
picks.
Monday, deers can spread COVID-19 now.
Oh, is that your tease?
Don't let it ruin your weekend. Don't let it ruin your weekend, folks. Don't let it ruin your weekend.
All right, guys, when we get back on the other side, we're going to be talking to Howard Lawrence Carr. Don't go anywhere. This is The Grace Curley Show.
You're listening to The Grace Curley Show.